Everybody, Kim here, lead generation source. Let me see. Sorry, I don't have anything showing yet. Just give me a moment and I'll get that up. That is okay. And here we go. I'm going to share my screen now. Hey, Joanne, you might be the only one on right now. Linda just messaged something. I had just a quick glance at it. That she's actually on the road fleeing a hurricane. So I'm assuming she's not going to be on. And Chrissy had a meeting, probably running late. And one of these days, we got to figure out how to get you on. Yeah, in the Carolinas. Is she? I know she tells me all the time where she's at. And I forget. It's just one of those, if I've never been there, I can't really understand the relationship. I thought she was in Virginia. But still, I think, well, I don't even know where the hurricane is. Let's take a look. We'll take a look over here. People on replay are like, what? So here's Dorian. See if they're going to show the path, the anticipated path. They've changed this so much. Yeah, so Southeast Virginia is getting hit. So she left her husband behind, though. And I would not. I would tell my husband, I don't care about the house. Let's go. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully other people will pop on. And if not, then if you need to go, you need to go. If you don't, we'll stay and we'll just work through this. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Bahamas. Yeah. I haven't really kept up on any of the news, but they always get hit hard when there's a hurricane. So I can't imagine that hits them, a hurricane that hits them. So I can't imagine that it was any better this time. All of those islands are really get hit hard. All right. So let's just jump into email marketing. And Joanne, since you are actually really familiar with this, if I don't answer questions or comments or anything immediately, just bear with me because it's just me. But you're familiar with this, so it's probably going to be relatively basic, but hopefully it can open up some ideas. All right, let's go ahead and let's just recap real quick. So in weeks 1 and 2, or sessions 1 and 2, however you want to call it, we focused on building our foundation for search engine optimization, SEO, backlinks, and clarifying our content and products. And if you missed those, for those on the recording, if you missed those prior ones, I do recommend you still do them. Even though it's not directly related to email marketing, it can drive traffic for our email marketing. Additionally, it's the foundation for our future marketing efforts. So, and email marketing supports your actions with the building the traffic more. So, and we'll talk more about that when we talk about some examples. And I wanted to make sure we started with email marketing early on because in our specific marketing strategies, because you can implement it now, right? So you can build your site, you can implement the capturing of the emails and get that all set up. So as you're driving traffic from all the other different methods, you're doing email marketing at the same time, right? And you can set it up so it's automatic. You can do, and we'll talk more about that strategy in just a minute. And this is literally critical for any business. Now, I am not the best at email marketing. I'm actually not the greatest at all. In fact, I hardly do it at all because I'm working on 5 or 6 different companies, right? So since I do services for other companies, it's hard for me to focus on one thing. And so I would recommend you do focus on one. It's hard to do email marketing for more than one, which is what my problem is. But once you get it set up, like if you get one set up, you can move on to another one. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on right now. So let's get this one set up, then we'll move on to this one. All right, so today we're going to talk about email marketing. We're going to go over the general concepts of how email marketing works. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy for capturing emails, and then we're going to talk about strategy for engaging your email list. So first of all, Joanne, you asked, how have you been using the Mail-It? No, I have not, because I don't know if it works with Elementor. I haven't tried it. but I use ActiveCampaign, which we'll talk about in a minute. So what is email marketing? So email marketing is the act of sending a commercial message, typically to a group of people using email. In its broadest sense, every email sent to a potential or current customer should be considered email marketing. And that's according to wikipedia.org, which of course I don't use as a scholarly source, but it is a collectively agreed upon definition. So we'll just go ahead and go with that definition. Now, the basic idea behind email marketing is that you build a relationship with your audience through email, and there are exceptions we'll talk about. You can promote products and services, share information, and engage with your audience. Right? So that's the kind of the point of email marketing, is another form of engaging the people that are interested in your product, services, information. Now we're going to talk about we're going to talk about platforms in a little bit, but whatever email marketing platform you use, it should allow you to capture emails, store the emails securely, schedule emails, set up automatic sequences when someone subscribes, and ideally tag each person, which is a type of categorization. And that's, Joanne, that's another reason why I haven't used Mailin, is because when you start getting into some of these, Mailin's really easy to use if you are doing one focus thing and you're going to be involved in it a lot. I haven't seen some of the new stuff he added to it though, so I'm not sure what all it does anymore. But because it also uses your email sending, I use Zoho Mail, I don't think it'll work for me. All right, so strategy for capturing email. And we've talked about this before, but I just want to kind of go over it again. You need to offer something of value in exchange for their email address. Give someone a reason to sign up and read your emails. I get a lot of times where people, in fact, I get this, I would sign up for something, sign up to my email list and I'll give you this, a list of Pinterest groups that you can join. And I was like, man, I don't want to sign up for an email list, but I want that list of groups. And so I sign up for the groups and then I'm on their email list and I go, this is no value to me at all, because all I wanted was the Pinterest groups and none of them were good. So as soon as that happened, that's no longer value to me and I'm going to unsubscribe. That's the way most people are going to be. Typically, this is not going to be sign up to get notified of my sales. A lot of people, especially in e-commerce, think, oh, people just want to get notified of my sales. That's not really true anymore. People are just kind of burned out to that. So unless you're a well-branded company where people expect that, like Kohl's, Target, Amazon, where people are expecting you to send them sale information, you're not going to get a lot of people that are signing up specifically to get notified of your sales. So here's some items to consider. A newsletter. If you provide a weekly newsletter, this might work for you, but you need to email your audience on a regular basis. So even if you don't have a newsletter, or you're like, oh, hey, I have no interest in any of these things, you need to figure out a way to email your audience on a regular basis at a minimum of once a week, minimum. It depends on who you talk to. If you're in affiliate marketing, they'll go, you need to email them daily. And others will say, oh, at least 2 to 3 times a week. But I can tell you, if you're not emailing them at all, it's going to be really difficult to get them re-engaged. So you need to keep that engagement up and keep you in their mind. So a newsletter is a good way to do that, because if you have nothing else to talk about, you can recap information related to your company, related to, what happened to your social media. You can talk about, sales that are upcoming or that already happened, or products that maybe sold out. If you offer, a service, you can talk about, just a story that happened. Oh yeah, we talked to one client who told us that this was the greatest thing because of, something to kind of just remind them of a value. Either tap them on the shoulder and congratulate them. That's always good. Making them feel like they made a good decision, right? Because they signed up for your list for some reason. So now you get to make them feel like they're really smart for doing that. So you can do that once a week with a newsletter, or even if you want to do a newsletter twice a week or something. Now, one that I actually thought of because of Linda, who's not on right now, but is engagement updates, right? So offer your audience a chance to stay updated. So you can share content a few times a week and update your audience via email. So it's kind of like a mini newsletter. And I'm going to show an example of that when we talk about the examples. But this is a chance for them because, Facebook doesn't tell everybody about your post. So if people are liking your Facebook page, they may be liking your Facebook page because they want the information. And you can easily switch them over to, hey, if you want this information, make sure you're on our email list, right? So that's an easy way to kind of segue into keep updated. And then, of course, you can offer something free up front, like a calendar, a discount, an ebook, a course, something. When someone, this is going to be something you can consider when someone purchases something from you. So, for example, you have a Shopify store and someone purchases something from you, or they buy from you on group card or something. But unless in the US, it's a little vague, but for the most part, they need to agree to accept marketing when they purchase from you. Otherwise, it's just a purchase, right? And again, they need to be signing up for something for value. And then they need to say, yes, I want to be on your marketing list. Okay, so here's a little bit of strategy for engaging your email list. So we offer value to our email list. There's, like I said, very few exceptions to this, but you need to offer something of value. And yes, you can promote offers, but you need to focus on the value. And that's where people are going to feel good about buying something from you when they feel like, oh yeah, this is, they make that connection. So when someone signs up, you're going to welcome them and introduce them to you and your company through a series of emails. Okay. And then after they make it through the welcome introduction series, you're going to put them on your general list and send them emails at least weekly, ideally a couple times a week. And how often you send emails will depend on your niche and your audience. And yes, you are going to have to test this. So the people who blanketly say, oh yeah, email 85 times a day, they are obviously talking about their audience. And that's what's working for them. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you and your audience. So let's look at some examples here. So we've talked a lot about my Celtic ornaments, so I figured it would just be good to bring this in. This is not what I do, by the way, because most of my sales are on Amazon. So I do have an email list and I plan on eventually implementing something, but when they aren't opting in and my emails are coming from a third-party person that's managing it, it's very difficult to implement. So we'll just talk about this as if I were doing this. So let's say a customer signs up to get a discount on Celtic items, Celtic ornaments, Celtic, decoration, whatever. They're now going to go into a welcome series that introduces them to the reason for the Celtic items, something about the business, and then also invite to follow on other social media platforms, and then remind about the discount. And I'll give an example about this towards a more detailed example after we talk a little bit more about how to capture emails. So now let's say a weekly email could be something, that's related to Celtic, obviously, because that's what they're signing up for, right? We know they're interested in that. And this is, again, where niche specific stuff comes in handy. So maybe we talk about something cool about the Celtic culture, or maybe something from mythology. And Celtic is in mythology all over the place. Celtic designs show up in all of the Avengers movies and Thor and, so all of those Marvel movies. So what a great way to engage your audience, say, who likes Celtic. Oh, hey, have you guys seen the movies? Did you see the Celtic decorations? It looks just like this ornament here, right? And, it could just be fun information. This information can be in whatever form is easiest. So you don't have to have a novel on your email. You can just have an email that says, hey, I found this for you, check it out, right? And you can point them somewhere else. So if you have a blog post, you can send them to your blog post. If you have a video, let's say you only do video marketing and you're on YouTube, send them to your video on YouTube. But if you have a blog, make sure you embed that on your blog so that you can capture that data. And if you choose to retarget later, you have that information. Now, let's say you found an interesting article that you feel is relevant to your audience. You can share that article with them either through a post that sums up the article and then links back over to the article. Or if you just want to send them to that other article, that's fine. It doesn't have to be your content. Or you could say, hey, check out this clip of the most recent Avengers movie where it shows it, and maybe you go find it on YouTube and do a little snippet of it. I'm sure that's out there. If not, there are ways to do that. Now, remember, this is about providing value. So if the purpose is selling an item, then I would recommend adding something about how whatever is shared relates to a specific ornament. So like I said, maybe I say, okay, we picked these 3 ornament designs, these Celtic ornament designs, because we saw them in Avengers. That's not true, but let's just say we did. Let's just say that we had that. We can say, hey, these 3 designs came up. You can get the set here, right? So that's a way to provide value and still entertainment and engage with them, and then link them over to a product. So there are ways to kind of build that in. And then maybe I add in another weekly email. So now that they're past the welcome, and I'm going to say, hey, every week, you're going to get an announcement and updates and sales, et cetera, as appropriate. So that would be more like a newsletter style, right? And include a couple of different pieces of information. Now, so this one I did specifically for Linda is pit bull. So let's say that someone signs up for a pit bull calendar and agrees to get updates. So the welcome introduction emails might include something like, point people to social media, of course. Tell them why you're passionate about pit bulls. Give them information about your company or organization. And here's like an example. My main goal is to set the record straight about pit bulls. To do this, I share information, engage with like-minded pit bull lovers on social media, and have set up a shop for pit bull merchandise that helps support my endeavor. You can see that shop here. So it's a really easy way to get them to buy into why they need to buy your product, right? They can, oh yeah, I'm passionate about this too. Oh, hey, if I buy this, I'm now supporting somebody else who's also a pit bull lover, right? So you're tying that into that passion. And then after the introduction, you can do general emails 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm using this as specifically for Linda's example because she gets high engaging posts more than once a week. But let's just say it's only once a week, doesn't matter. But she could announce, let's say she does like twice a week. She's like, okay, I'm going to announce if the post hits such and such a level, I'm going to send it out to my email and see if I can get more momentum on it. So she has her email list of 2,000 people, or I don't know what she has. I'm just saying she has 2,000 people. And the post has, 147 or 200 likes on it, and it's got 50 comments, and it's moving. Maybe she sends an email out and says, have you seen our most recent viral post? And then in it just says blah, 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 links to the post, right? Hey, we posted this up. It's been super active. Wanted you to get your information in. Please, take your time to take a moment to come engage with your fellow pit bull lovers, and then clicks, and then it has a link to the actual Facebook post, right? It doesn't have to go to your page. You can go to the Facebook post. So now they go to the Facebook post, they're going to comment, they're going to engage, and then that's going to make it even more viral. So then let's say that there isn't necessarily one that is high engagement. It could be instead recapping the post that had good activity. Maybe there's 3 or 4 that didn't quite hit that viral momentum, but they were still good, and say, hey, we had these posts. This is what they talked about. Here are a couple of our favorite comments. I mean, really, it's writing. The content is writing itself for you, right? All you have to do is pull it out and plug it in. So then another, once a week, you might send out an email that highlights positive news reports or reminisces on something from a while ago, an anniversary of something, especially if there's famous pit bulls. You can pull out, hey, this famous pit bull in history, and then talk about it. And then at the bottom of your email is link to a product when it fits. You don't always have to promote a product, right? You don't always have to promote a product, but if you have one that fits, like, for example, if you had like the historical pit bull, if you talk about this, hey, there's this pit bull, blah, 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 and you have a shirt that has a saying on it that matches something that's related to what that pit bull was famous for, then you could go, oh yeah, and by the way, we have a shirt that actually captures this information, and you just put that at the bottom, right? So check out this shirt that actually, mentions this, or it ties right into it. Let's see here. So, and then of course you could mention it in your announcement when you're talking about the post. Let's say you did product posts. You could highlight, two higher engaging posts, and then say, did you see our newest product post? Right? Can you take a look at our product posts and let us know what you think? Now, if you could, even if you don't have high engaging posts, you can just talk about 2 of your favorite, a favorite post of yours, and then, oh, by the way, did you see our product post? Right? So there's no requirements on this. You don't have to set limits. You can if you want to, if you're like, oh, hey, I can't be emailing 6 times a day for every time we have an engaging post because it's so popular. You could just say, I'm going to send it out every Thursday, I'm going to send out, because my most engaging day is on Friday, I'm going to send out all of this information to people, so that way I get even more engagement on Fridays. There's a depending on your own assets will make this vary, but these are just ideas. All right. So again, you can help your products go viral by asking your email list to engage with that post, right? So you can say, hey, go to this post, look, comment, leave a comment on what you think. Hey, can you help us spread the word about pit bulls? We put up this product post. Can you take a look at it and let us know what you think in the comments? You can ask that in email, right? You may not be able to ask that in the actual post, but you can definitely ask that in an email. All right, so here's another example when we're doing affiliate marketing, and this, I'm going to call it evergreen. So this, oh, okay. Joanne says, wait, since she's the only one on, I'm going to. Oh, why can't you ask in a post? Right. So right here where I said, leaving a comment, if you say the word comment or tell people in any way to comment, and it's in your organic, so non-paid. So if you're not paying for the post, you're going to, theoretically, you have a lower engagement rate. Facebook has said that they penalize posts that tell people to comment, that tell people to tag someone, that tell people, to take specific actions. They want it to be naturally occurring. So as their algorithm fine tunes, it gets harder and harder to say comment below or tell us what you think or anything else, right? We typically, in fact, try to trick the algorithm and put that in the picture. But even their systems are getting better at examining text. So yeah, Joanne. And the thing is that Facebook is constantly changing. The more they do, the more they are penalizing people for not paying for ads. So because of that, you need to be careful on how you approach your organic post. But this is exactly why email marketing helps, right? You can say, and same thing. So Joanne, for those who are on the recording, Joanne had an incident where somebody had actually hijacked her pages, and they ended up getting shut down. And so because of that, she ends up losing like a ton of, her whole properties. And she had a lot of people on there. So what would have been ideal, and of course, by the time from when you got the assets to the time that happened, was not enough time to build this up. But what would have been ideal is as you're building your page, which of course you purchased your page, so that's going to be different. But let's say you start your page off and you start capturing emails immediately. Then by the time something like that happens, you could always start a new page and be like, you know what? This is what happened. Can you guys please, come like my page, share it with others, let them know. And so you could rebuild that up just using your email list, right? As long as you're keeping them engaged. If you just do that out of the blue from emails, it's going to be a lot harder to do. But that is a method. And this is exactly why email marketing is one of the only, emails are one of the only assets that you can keep that are an actual asset, right? Your social media assets are not really, because they're not yours. All right, so I hope we're good now, Joanne. I'm going to go on to example 3. I'm going to talk about evergreen. And what evergreen means is that you can sell it on a regular basis. So, there are sometimes, like, I'm going to give an example. Like recently, I bought a program called 100K Shoutout that is, it's what they call a launch. So they do a launch, they open it up for like 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, they close it, theoretically. I don't know if they really did or not, but let's just say that's the way they pitch it. And that's the way it typically is a launch. We'll talk about that one in a minute, but let's talk about evergreen where it's not. Now, I promote a lot of evergreen products. A lot of Luke's products like OctoSuite, that launched many years ago, but I still promote it because it's an evergreen product. So during the launch, he gave a discount, but now I can still promote it at its current price. And that's an affiliate marketing, right? So I promote his product, I get a commission on it. Now, affiliate marketing is harder if you're not niche specific. So before we even jump into like niche examples, imagine if I was to be like, oh, hey, I found this really cool weight loss program and I want you guys to take a look at it. None of us have ever really been engaged in any type of conversation about weight loss. So there's no reason why I would think that my audience would want to receive an email about a weight loss product or program or anything. So that's what makes email marketing in multiple niches kind of difficult. Well, and then for that matter, even if you're selling a product in multiple niches, it makes it difficult. So here's an example. If you do affiliate marketing in like an e-commerce niche, so let's say we'll go with the pit bull example, and then you're doing weight loss, and then you're doing gardening. And even within those, so e-commerce, weight loss, and gardening, each one of those has something smaller. So like you heard me say, e-commerce, I narrowed it down to pit bull. I'm selling products that are related to pit bulls. Or maybe I'm selling Celtic ones, right? Whatever. So there we go. Celtic and pit bulls are not the same audience, right? They're not the same audience. And so that's why you have to kind of, when you think of email marketing, you have to think of it in niche specific terms, because if you don't, you're going to get a lot of people unsubscribing the second you send them something about weight loss and they think they're getting something about Celtic ornaments, right? It's just, that's the way it is. So you have to be able to keep them separate. And so you would have to literally build up 3 completely different lists and keep up with all 3 of those. And that's what I mean by it's very difficult if you aren't focused on one to build them, because you can build one, get it completely built and set up, and then move on to another one. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So if you promote a handful of products in the same niche, you can build value around the niche and then introduce products as necessary. So let's say your niche is affiliate marketing and gardening. You capture people through a gardening checklist, an ebook, mini course, or a video how-to. Now, again, gardening has very many sub-niches. You could do vegetable gardening, rose gardening, landscaping. You can even do survival stuff. I mean, there's a huge range that you could focus on, but because I'm not going to go that deep, we're just going to talk about gardening in general. So let's say they do let's do rose gardening, right? So they have a checklist to make sure that they have the best roses possible this year. And then you have a whole checklist, and in the checklist can link to affiliate products, right? So that's one way when they bring them in, you can say in the checklist, hey, you need this, this, and this, click here to get it, right? And they can click over to Amazon and purchase it or whatever. Now then, let's say you set it up so 2 to 3 times a week, you email about topics related to gardening, and each email mentions a resource that fits and links to an affiliate product. So, and this can be an info product. So, we're talking about rose bushes. You say, hey, you know what, there's this specific fertilizer, right, that you absolutely need that's specific to rose bushes. And maybe you talk about that. You say, hey, there's a news article that comes out that talks about somebody who won and that's what they used, right? So you could have your email revolve around that news article and say, hey, did you see this? Da, 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 da. This is the product right here. And you can click, and that link can be an affiliate link, or can click over to the blog post that talks about it that has an affiliate link. Now, this is more of a passive selling method. So even when you're doing your own e-commerce methods and everything, it's more passive when you're engaging them. And as long as there isn't time sensitivity, so for example, yes, we have sales that we may run on our e-commerce products, but especially in affiliate marketing, there may not be. And as long as there isn't time sensitive, you can literally schedule these emails out as long as your email platform lets you. So for example, let's go back to this one. I'm going to get into the gardening niche, and I know that there are going to be specific times of the year where people are going to be gardening. I know that in whatever month, and of course I don't know this because I don't garden, but let's say that in July, because it's July and August are the hottest months in almost every state, I can send out emails that say, are your roses wilting? Here's what you need to know, right? And then maybe there's a specific product that helps keep their roots moist or cools them down during the day without burning them or whatever. I could, again, you guys can tell I definitely do not do any type of gardening with rose bushes. But the only rose bushes I ever grew, in my defense, were eaten by rabbits. So let's just talk about that. Let's stop there. So this isn't difficult to tie in products. It's just a passive way of selling. So people aren't going to be like, oh, you need to buy this now or you're never going to get it, and your rose bushes are going to die. That's more of an aggressive method, right? You have to get this now. The sale ends in 4 days. That's more of what we're going to talk about launches. So this is a passive selling method. And again, as long as there's not time sensitivity, you can literally schedule these emails out. So you can say, look, I'm going to schedule it out in April, these emails, in May, these emails. In June, these emails. In July, these emails. And what month are we in right now? September? Yeah, September. So we'd have the same, okay, how to keep your rose bushes, safe during their winter. I'm sure there's lots of prep stuff. And then you could have stories. You could talk about rose bushes that are, whatever's going on with the rose bushes. You can even talk about state-specific stuff, even if it's going out to audiences not in that state, because this is all information that's interesting to them. So you can just say, oh, hey, yeah, in such and such a state, they're getting ready for freezing while others are, you can even compare, right? So Texas, we're almost at 100 degrees still. And other states are probably a lot cooler. I don't know if they are. I haven't checked because it's too depressing. So we'll just go with, let's assume that there will be a time where it's hot here and cool somewhere else. And then you could talk about that in your emails to them. This is something that interests them because they're passionate about rose bushes. And they're like, oh man, that's what they're doing there. Hey, you know what? I may have a similar problem over here, even though it's not quite the same. But now I know when I get colder in a month, that's what they're doing. I may be able to do the same thing, right? So you're providing value. But again, it's passive. You're not going to get as much money as you are as if you're going to be more aggressive. And that's more like launches. So launches are, like I said, when they say, oh, hey, this is available between here and here, or it could be even a sale, right? Oh, it's 50% off. This is the first, Black Friday sales, right? Those are really aggressive. Got to get it now. 1 hour left. I get 150 emails from the same places over and over again on Black Friday. In fact, I don't check my email on Black Friday because of that, or the entire month beforehand. So if you do plan on competing with the big boys in affiliate marketing and any launches of affiliate products, and this is basically any affiliate products, and they're usually info products, by the way, not like e-commerce wise, you'll have to plan on harassing your email list. And so you'll have to plan on having an email list specifically for the purpose of harassing them, right? And you almost have to warn them up front because they're going to get a lot of emails from you. It's a highly competitive area, and you're going to be competing against other emails, better bonuses, or just different bonuses, and a variety of other factors. So I honestly feel like this is the hardest email marketing method. In fact, you guys see, I do not send you 100 emails about a product. I send it once. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. I might send it twice if I'm clarifying information or providing follow-up stuff. And that's about it. So and they tell you when you sign up to do affiliate marketing like this, they tell you need to be emailing your list every single day. And then they'll be, and then now I've been seeing you need to send a pre-email and twice a day. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to send that many times. Now, I will also say that I have somebody else who does email marketing very similar to me. And he sent out an email to me in advance of everybody else to tell me, hey, this is coming. And then he sent it to me when open, and then I never saw anything from him again. I ended up not buying through him. Now, the reason why isn't because I didn't want to buy through him. It was because somebody else had a better bonus and he wouldn't reply to my email. I asked him a question through his site like he says to do. And when he didn't reply, I was like, look, if you're not going to provide me any actual value here, I like the information you say, but if you're not going to engage with me and be like an actual person, then I'm going to go with this person who has a better bonus. And so that's what ended up happening because the other guy was emailing me every day and I didn't even see it, right? It just happened to be that because I never got back, I was searching for the answer and I found the answer in this other guy's email. And so he had the answer to the email. I looked at his bonuses, decided that's what I wanted. So there is a bonus thing. Like if I had been promoting that, my bonuses would have been awesome, but they wouldn't let me. So that's another thing, right? You have to be able to do all this. Yeah. So Joanne points out, she got something through someone and then they never sent the bonus and never got back to her. So she unsubscribed quick. That's exactly the way it goes, right? I know I have that problem. Like people purchase through me and I have it so it's all automated. And so I'm sure they're buying because they're engaging with like my YouTube video or something else. But then the first email they get from me, I see them unsubscribe and I'm going, why would they do that? And it's partly because I don't put them into a welcome series, right? Because they come in and I assume they know me. And so I'm switching that eventually so that when people first come into anything that they're going to get a welcome series. But this is all something you build up and you do it as you go, right? my first priority has been stabilizing the site, which if any of you noticed yesterday, both the lead generation source site and the member site were down for about a couple of hours. Well, I moved it to yet another hosting platform, which actually did completely speed it up. So I'm extremely pleased with that. And I'm going to do a couple more tests, and then I'll probably share entire what I did and why I did it with everybody. Oh, I moved to SiteGround. Yeah, I moved to SiteGround because everybody's been talking about them, and it used to be that they were so expensive, and they kind of are. But then I looked at their pricing, and I'm going, dude, I'm paying $5 less for another company, and I can't even get my back end pages to open quickly. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So, like I said, a couple more tests, and then I'll be able to, for sure say, hey, this is what I would recommend. But I'm liking it a lot so far. I can't even tell you how fast it sped it up. It was just insane. Not the front end, the back end. I haven't even checked the front end to see if anything changed. Like the part that people actually engage with. It's just crazy. Anyway, so like I said, affiliate marketing launches, these are very, very, very difficult. But they can have the highest rewards if you can put in the work and build up a big enough list, because you're going to have some problems with it, right? Most affiliates are going to be emailing out 2 to 6 times a day, and they do completely fill up my email inbox. It drives me insane. So the focus on this method is not value, right? We're not providing value when we're doing this. We are literally just saying, hey, sign up so I can spam you with all of these different offers. And that's, most affiliate marketers do that. Like I said, that's not my method, because I'm more about providing value and then linking any affiliate products as I see them and they actually are valuable. If it's not valuable, I'm not going to mention it. In fact, I test plenty of products that I never mention. And you're going to rely heavily on your bonuses and constantly getting new people into your list to replace those that leave. So those are elements. So you're emailing a lot to people. So you're going to get a lot of unsubscribes because people get crazy tired of that, right? And maybe they don't remember who you are. I hate when that happens. When I buy something from someone, and maybe I buy it from Better Businesses for You, and then all of a sudden I'm getting emails from Dan Whatchamahoosit, and I'm like, who are you? And then I get 6 other emails from all of his partners too, and I don't know who any of them are. And I'm like, who are you? And why am I on your list? And how did I get on your list? And it's insane, because they end up sharing, even though you're buying through one person, they have partners, and you end up being on every single one of their lists. And so now, instead of getting one email about a specific product, I'm getting like 75 from different people, from literally 75 different people, multiple times a day. So I have to sit down regularly and unsubscribe from lists, which I haven't done in a while. And so my email is getting completely bogged down. And there's one company out there, it was called Lifetime Hosting. They just launched a new one. It's another type of lifetime hosting, but it's only for 10 years. And of course, I did mention it because I don't like their hosting anymore. And when you unsubscribe, all they do is take that entire list and put it on a new platform. So you can unsubscribe all day long, but you're only going to unsubscribe for like 5-6 days, and they put you back on the list again. Because now I think they even have you on their own. So if you unsubscribe, they just manually add you back in. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's completely against the law, but yet they don't seem to care, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. It drives me insane. So anyway, that's not just unethical, that's illegal, at least in almost every country. That would be called spammy, legitimately. So again, the focus on this method is not value, but you're just letting people know about the products, and you're relying heavily on bonuses and constantly getting new people into your list, right? Constantly. You got a lot of unsubscribes. You have to get a lot of people to replace that. And it's a numbers game. The higher the numbers, the more likely you are to make money. All right, so we're going to do another example here. So this is going to be like your own service. And I'm going to use security as an example, because that was our home security. We did home security and fire and everything else. And we don't anymore, but we did this, and we had talked about doing email marketing, but our problem was that all of our customers didn't use email. In fact, we had such a problem with it, we frequently had to create emails for them just to sign them up, just to connect them to some of the services. It was quite insane. So this would be a strategy I would do if I had an audience that I could actually reach emails with. So in this example, we're going to offer a solution as an opt-in. So like a checklist on home safety and security. And then we're going to send out weekly emails. So we probably do our welcome series, you know, about the company. Here's our social media stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to have weekly emails. And that would be updates related to weather, crime, a new system feature, especially if they already have that system. A perfect example of this was back before everybody had cell phones. So this would be before they had smartphones, I should say. Cell phones were definitely prominent. So let's say we started our business in like 2013, I think. And you could not get weather notifications back then. Like you had to pay in order to get them. So there was this, it's a company called alarm.com, and they partnered with a variety of security companies. But what would happen is that you could have your alarm system notify you of weather conditions. So for example, here in Texas, we get a lot of tornado warnings. And what happened is that, you know, people would not be like even though the notification still comes through, like if you have a weather radio, most people don't have weather radios. They don't have, you know, they didn't have the notifications on their phones. They didn't have any of this stuff. And so the people would just all of a sudden never know, and they'd be getting hit with tornadoes constantly. Well, I didn't have my weather radio on. It was 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute warning, right? I mean, how you wouldn't even have enough time to turn on the weather radio. So alarm.com came out with this feature where it would notify you, like you could set it up and sign up for the notifications. So when there was a notification that was in your zip code, you would get notified. And it was better than like on your phone or something. Like the stupid, what are those alerts you get? The Amber alerts. They're like, oh, Amber alert, somebody in San Antonio. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I am literally 5 hours away. 5 hours. By the time they came by me, I wouldn't remember that notification went out. So ridiculous. Somebody really needs to re-examine those. So you would not get those because that is pointless if you're in your house, right? You wouldn't. Who cares? Oh, did I see somebody driving by? No, I was inside watching TV. Thanks. So instead, alarm.com was focused on the weather notifications and literally has saved lives. And so that was something that we may be like, oh, hey, you already have this system. This is a feature you don't have. And this is something, you know, so we may highlight that feature for them. So these are all things that you can do with your own products and your own services, depending on what you're doing. Now, I will say, when I use this as an example, most, if not all, service-based companies rely heavily on salespeople, and that includes for follow-up, right? Not just your initial sales, but for follow-up. And this is actually almost all local companies. So email marketing for many local companies is really just to maintain a relationship and remind your customers that you exist and you're there for them. Because the second somebody knocks on their door and says, oh, hey, I can give you the same system for $100 cheaper, somehow, I don't, whatever, they go, oh, okay, because they have no relationship with you, right? They have nothing. I know we worked with a company that constantly had their customers stolen from them because even though they did email out, they were such a huge company that people hated working with them because they wouldn't answer their phones or they wouldn't give them proper customer service. And then they'd be like, oh, we need to send somebody out there. We're going to charge you for a service call. And they're like, well, I don't understand. It's just a low battery. Can't you tell me how to change the battery? And then they'd be like, no. And then they switched to yes eventually. So by the way, that company went bankrupt. So, you know, it's just, this is email marketing for local companies and service-based companies is really just to keep that relationship. So that's just something to keep in mind, but this will help you keep more customers. All right, so let's talk platforms. So an email marketing platform is a particular company system and software that provides the actual email marketing services. Examples are MailChimp, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse, SendLane, Aweber. There's plenty more, right? These are just ones that I thought off the top of my head. I am literally not going to tell you which one to get. For those of you, and I'm sure Joanne, you remember, we had a lengthy discussion on this once, and all it was everybody arguing about why they thought that theirs was the best. So instead, I'm not going to tell you which one to get. And I'm just going to let you know when I finally get around to doing supplemental videos, which is going to take me a while, of course, I'm going to show everything using ActiveCampaign because that's what I use. I do have my own reasons for why I prefer ActiveCampaign. And I have tested every single platform mentioned here. So MailChimp, ConvertKit, of course, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse, SendLane, Aweber. I've tested every single one of those, plus others, right? And I'm this is the one that I'm on now, ActiveCampaign. I was on GetResponse for a while, but they ended up not working because they are idiots. And so instead, I went with ActiveCampaign, and it's been working wonderfully. So again, this is pointless for me to say, hey, do this one, because everybody has their opinions. But so Mailit's not a platform. It is an email program. And that's why I haven't used Mailit recently, but I used to use it, but it didn't used to not schedule. So again, Mailit has its purposes, but in my opinion, and in fact, there's a couple of instances where I would use that, right? If I was doing that. But because if you're switching to a platform like this where everything's automated, then you're going to have more capabilities. So again, I haven't checked Mailit because I know they changed some and added some features, but something that Brett Ratucki does is he relies heavily on the your own hosting emails. And what I have found recently is that if your hosting is really bad, which is almost every single hosting platform out there right now, I don't know about SiteGround because I haven't tested that your emails aren't getting through and you're having problems with them. And so we ran into that when we were using Host9, we were using Bluehost, we were using HostMonster. And because of that, we ended up switching our emails to Zoho Mail. And when I'm using Zoho Mail, it makes it really wonky to use Mailit. So you can't really do it. And then there are some hosting platforms that just don't allow you to connect it to it. And so that's why I'd say, and Mailit, last time I used it was a while ago, probably right when you first got it, Joanne, and it still didn't have the capability to schedule emails or run an automated sequence. And if you want to do those elements, you can. So once somebody comes in, you could theoretically put them back on a list. But again, we've talked about this before, Joanne. The Mailit platform is nice if you're going to stay small. But if you plan on building, which is what I assume, then you're going to eventually need to have a third-party platform. But you could start with Mailit and just do it all manually. That wouldn't be too bad. Okay, so again, I have my reasons, and I have a link if you want to get ActiveCampaign. Here's where it is. It'll also be linked in the on YouTube. It'll be listed in the description as well. So I'm going to keep this as basic as possible and just share what I do, because there are literally dozens of different ways you can do this. Also, because there are dozens of different ways, it's going to be very hard to get specific. So we're going to keep it really high level, and then I'll dive into like how-tos with ActiveCampaign in the supplemental videos when I can do those, which will hopefully be soon. All right, so capture emails. If you want to capture emails, which is kind of the point of email marketing, you need a landing page or an opt-in page. The days of scraping emails are gone. If you scrape emails, they're probably not emails that are legit. So just so you know, people hardly ever use legitimate emails out there. And even if they do, you're technically spamming them, and you can get into a lot of trouble doing that in some countries. Not in the US, but in most other countries. So if you want to capture the emails, you need to have people go somewhere, right? Again, there's like 15 different names for this landing page, opt-in page, squeeze page. There's like a ton of different names. But basically, this is any page on the great World Wide Web that integrates with your email marketing platform and lets you capture someone's email, right? So they're going to give you their email, possibly in exchange for something, maybe just to sign up for notifications, whatever it is. But you need a way to be able to have them give it to you, right? They're not going to just email you with their email, which used to be a strategy people taught. And I thought that was insane, because I would never do that. Let me email you and say, hey, yeah, can you put me on your email list? No, I've never in my life done that. Now, I use Elementor for my website. So I use WordPress, and I use Elementor plugin, and I should say with the Elementor Pro plugin. So I use Elementor. I use the $8 Elementor Pro plugin that we've talked about in the past. I'll link to that in the comments as well. And this, or in the comments, in the description. And this lets me use the form function. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up real quick. Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and open up a new post real quick so you can see. Possibly. All right, so I'm not going to actually create this. I'll delete it later. But assuming this ever opens, this is not the one on SiteGround, by the way, in case you wondered. This is slow back end. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It drives me insane. So let's say that this is my page that I want to do a form. So I would come up here with Elementor and I would type in. So I'm going to say, maybe I'll have some text here that says, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to have them sign up for something, right? So I'm going to take form. I'm going to put it in there. And this one already has name, email, and message. I can take off message and just have it say name and email. I can integrate it to a form that's already built in, or I can create my own. Now, when I get here, and I'm sure there's others besides ActiveCampaign that do this. Actions after submit, right? So we're going to say when they submit the button, this is what they're going to see here. But after they submit it, what's going to happen? In this case, this is going to send an email to wherever this email is designated, right? So you can change this out to yourself. In fact, I use this a lot. This is exactly how I do my contact form. I leave message on there and I say, just email me. Email me the information so I have it, right? Well, I don't need to go into the system. I don't keep it. If somebody sends me it through contact, I don't even run it through ActiveCampaign. But if they want to sign up for something and I want to actually deliver them, then I need to have it go into ActiveCampaign. Man, I can't even make it an hour. Oh, that tastes weird. It's a bottled water. It tastes weird. Okay, right. So let's go back to actions after submit. So that's if I want to email. So let's say I don't want to email and I want it to go into in fact, here, looks like you can do MailChimp, Drip, GetResponse, ConvertKit, MailerLite, Slack. I don't know what Discord is, but I've heard it. And then I don't know what that is. So in this case, I think pop-up means what you want to pop up. I'm going to do ActiveCampaign. I'm going to select it. And then under ActiveCampaign, assuming you have your credentials set and this works right, then you can have the default and it'll pull up a list. So eventually, assuming this will ever connect, and I don't know why it takes forever, but I would pick my list. And then I could also tell it, unfortunately, I have to pick the list. Once I pick the list, then I could tell it to also tag it. So I could tag it with that. And then when I go into ActiveCampaign, I give all of the instructions. Like the person with this tag that comes into this list gets this sent out. They go in, this is the instructions they get. I'll go through all of that in the supplemental because, again, it's going to be dependent on which system. And I only use ActiveCampaign. And in fact, the reason why I use ActiveCampaign is because it works. I was having problems with all of the others getting them to function correctly. So I can literally put the opt-in form on any of my pages and posts and have them opt in. And I can have the same opt-in or I can have different opt-ins. Now, I think you guys have seen this on Lead Generation Source. I did this with, let me see if I can get it to come up. So I did it on this page where you can sign up to get the checklist. So is that a video? No, I guess I don't have the videos on here. No, there's a video. So this form right here, right? They enter their name, their email, and they can get the checklist. This is a form right out of Elementor. It's integrated with ActiveCampaign, and it'll go ahead, connect, and send it to them. So, and then I have the same form here, right? And then, did I do it again? And then the same form here. So it's the same exact one, no matter which one they sign up for is on those. I could put this on another page. I could put this anywhere, right? So that's what makes it great. And that's why I use Elementor for my landing pages because of that. Well, for my whole site, but. All right, so that's the basic essentials for capture emails. Plenty of the programs, all of the programs have some way to use their internal landing pages. But in all honesty, unless you're not building any type of website, you really should just use your website and have people sign up on your website because that gives you a lot more flexibility. So like I said, we're only covering what I do. There are 100 different ways to do this. So here's an example process for opting in for Celtic, let's say, right? So the customer opts into my email list to receive a discount on a product. So day 0, which is immediately, the discount is delivered via email and the customer is told to expect a series of emails over the next 6 days. Now, a lot of people say do 10-day welcome emails, do 20-day, do a whole month. I mean, it's kind of up to you and how much content you have. I think 6 is plenty for this. In fact, it might even be overkill, but let's just say 6. So on the next day, so they're going to get the discount immediately. They may not make the purchase. They may make the purchase. It's irrelevant. Now they're in my email list. So in day one, so 24 hours later, they're going to get an email about EP Laser. I'm just going to talk about EP Laser and, you know, what we're about. And so kind of introduce them to us. I'm probably not going to have anything linked back to the product, right? Or I may mention something, say, hey, if you didn't get your discount, please reply and I'll make sure that I get it to you, right? Because that's a good way to engage them, to let them know, hey, you know, by the way, if you didn't get your discount, just hit reply and let me know and we'll make sure we send it again. And then the next day, so 24 hours later. And I like to keep these at one day. Like some people are like, oh no, you want to go, 28 hours. No, one day. Because guess what? When they signed up, that meant they have time at that time. Now, they may not the next day, but let the system worry about that. For us, we're going to try to aim for around the same time as when they opted in, because that's when they have time. So the next day, we're going to do why we created Celtic ornaments. In this case, because they're doing Celtic, we're going to, and again, this doesn't have to be something that is set in stone. You don't have to know this right now. You can make it up, right? So we're going to do Celtic ornaments, and I'm going to make up why I made Celtic ornaments. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I made them, and maybe I tell them this. Honestly, I made Celtic ornaments because I like the design. Then later I found out that, Celtic, I did some research and found out that the Celtic culture encompasses Scottish, and my dad's side is from Scotland. So, hey, maybe they were calling to me, right? So, I can come up with a story like that. And then at this point, I'm definitely going to remind them about the discount and link to the Celtic product. Now, you could do two paths, where if somebody has purchased the product, they get one story. And if they haven't purchased the product, they get a different storyline, right? So they're not constantly reminded about the discount. Maybe they're introduced to a new discount then. Oh, hey, you know what? If you're a Celtic lover like us, you can get the complete set here because they've already purchased. So there's a lot of different ways that you can customize this ahead of time, right? So based on how they are in the system. Then the next day 3, I'm going to tell them about all my social media accounts. Now, I'm going to tell them they can find us on their favorite social media outlet, but how I tell them is going to depend on what assets I have. So I have a whole syndication network set up for EP Laser and still have more assets to build. So instead of listing them all out in an email, which would cause spam, I'm going to actually have to tell them, link them to a page on my blog or on my site somewhere, and say, here are all my assets, find us on your favorite one, and then they can click on which one's appropriate. But if you only have a few, like you're just on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, you can just go, oh, hey, find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and then just link those 3, right? And then most of these platforms have something where it checks to make sure that the spam score is fine. And as long as the spam score is fine, you can send it out. If not, then go back to one link to a page that has them listed. So then the next day, I might do something like Celtic cultures and art, right? So it's pure content, and it talks about the historical Celtic cultures and the art that came from it, possibly. My grandpa has an entire novel about this already pulled out from all his research. So I could just go through his research, pull out some information, have something on it. Day 5 may be completely focused on sales. I'm going to remind them about the discount or offer a new one. Oh, hey, as a Celtic lover, you're going to enjoy these Celtic butterflies, which I'm still trying to figure out how to make, but I want Celtic butterflies. So, that would be something that I might be like, oh, you might love these, and then introduce them to the entire Celtic line. Check out all of our Celtic sets. And by the way, as a special thank you, take this extra discount, take another 15% off, And then on day 6, I may sum up the prior 5 emails and talk a little bit more about the Celtic cultures and Celtic ornaments, and try to buy more emotion from them, and then remind them about the discount or the new one or the ornament sets, whatever it is I've done, and then tell them what to expect, right? So now that you've made it through our welcome series, and you can even tell them it was a welcome series. You may not want to, it's up to you. You'll get emails twice a week and on special sales. You're going to tell them what to expect so they know. And then after the intro, you can, if you're using something like an active campaign, you can actually have them go from one list to another list so that they're no longer, so that they won't get mixed up between the two. So anyway, so that's, again, we'll do more of that on the supplemental videos. So email marketing really is simple, but despite the concept of email marketing being simple, it is actually easy to make it complex. That doesn't mean you need to make it complex. It's just really easy to make it complex. Like you can do a lot of complex stuff with email marketing, but you don't need to. And that's something you can build into a lot. If all you need to do is something like mail it, Joanne, then that's what you do. That's how you get started, right? You have your email list. You make sure you keep a copy of it so that if something happens, you can always access it. And you just send emails when you can through that, ideally once a week. But if you're like me and a month could go by and you go, oh yeah, I was working on that marketing plan, I should probably check and see where I'm at. Then you probably want to set up automation because it can help a lot. And that's where the platforms are critical. And then another thing about email marketing is you need to put the work in to make it profitable. You can't just set it up and think that's going to be it. I've actually purchased programs that are like done for you programs. Here you go. This is what you need to do. And then you get in there and you find out that even though it's a done for you program, you can't use it because, well, it just doesn't work. Yeah, Joanne, I'd have to find out why. I can't remember why you said you got it. You were using it for something specific, for specific site or something. That's all. You didn't really give me a whole lot of details when you got it, but it was going to be perfect for whatever you were doing. I remember that. And that may be something that you do. Like I know you use MailChimp, and I used to use MailChimp, but I can't deliver my deliverables. So when somebody opts in, honestly, Joanne, I cannot remember why you said you needed it, but Mail.it does serve a good purpose, especially when people are first starting out. Like I own them. Yeah. And that could be a lot easier than, I think you can still export in most of these platforms, but most people don't. In fact, that's one thing that when I was on GetResponse, something happened and in fact, I remember what happened. Even though I gave them their credit card and they allegedly tried to charge it, they're like, there's something wrong with your card. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my card. So I have to delete it. I re-enter it and they won't charge it. And they're like, well, you need to contact us. And I'm like, I'm not freaking contacting you. If your system can't automate this and I have to call you every month, it's not going to happen. So I exported my emails and moved them somewhere else. But most of those emails were junk emails anyway, because somebody went through and spammed my sign-up sheets for my webinars. I don't know. I didn't know he was doing any. Joanne, I haven't really seen any of his webinars. I saw one, which was interesting, but he promotes it every time. So anyway, so let me finish this up and then I'll go ahead and go through Q&A. All right, so it's really easy to make this complex, but you just need to keep it simple. So if all you can do is something like Mail.it, then that's fine. But I would recommend it at some point planning on a system that can automate more. But you may not. So Joanne, again, if you're one that if you are like, hey, my particular email method cannot have a bunch of scheduled emails, like maybe if you're doing news, right, you can't automatically update people. Oh yeah, I'm going to schedule this out for 6 months. You can't. News is news. News is now, right? So you'd have to have somebody going in there and telling them on a regular basis, oh, here's the most updated information. And so somebody like Linda, same thing. Like she may not need an automated platform because all she needs to do is go and say, okay, I'm going to send out this email. But if you can't schedule, that's where it makes it hard. Like for me personally. So I write emails at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, right before I go to bed, but I'm not going to send them then. I'm going to send them at, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when people are actually going to be awake and starting to get awake. So you can test a lot up front to find out what offer is best to get real people to sign up and not have a lot of people signing up, right? So you could have like 10 different versions of signups. You could test them over a few months and find out that you got 3 email opt-ins. I mean, I do a lot of work for mine and I don't get a whole lot of people, but I don't do a whole lot of promoting of them either. I just set them up and then plan on promoting them as time goes. And then I test a few things here or there. And that's because I'm not on one specific thing. I'm actually literally testing a lot of different things, which makes it very hard. But if you focus on it and then you market the opt-in and then you follow up with the people who opt in, you're gonna have a lot better results than I do. And one of these days I will make this my priority, but it's not right now. I'm still working on YouTube and Tailwind, so Pinterest. So again, you may go months without seeing any profit at all. You may not see any results at all. You may not see any people opening your emails, which can get frustrating. And this is especially if you're new to email marketing. In fact, I once did a solo ad, which is supposed to be one of the best ways to get new emails. And when I did it, it looked like I had like 60 or 70 people who signed up, and that was great because it was like $50. And I'm like, hey, I'm great with that. And then I realized that out of all of the emails that signed up, not one of them opened what they opted in for. The statistical odds of that is like none. Like there's no way. At least one person, probably closer to like half the people, should have opened it and got what they opted in for. So to me, I go, okay, they're not opening emails anyway, and they're not even collecting what they signed up for. These are fake emails. And sure enough, I guarantee that's what it was. These people, that's what they do. They make money and they set up all of these systems and they have it set up. They use technology and they just scam you. So I got really tired of that. And I said, I could do that and make a big email list that isn't real, but how's that beneficial? It's not. So again, you may go months without seeing a profit, so that's something to keep in mind about email marketing. However, if you don't do email marketing, you can't minimize your costs, right? So if you have real people that are there and engaging with it, doing stuff, you're going to be able to send an email and make 5 sales, whereas you can make a post and do none, right? Eventually you get to the point where you're sending an email and you're doing hundreds of sales, whereas you make a post and you might get 1 or 2, right? So that's kind of what the difference is between that. Is email marketing is you're hyper targeting people who are interested in it. And even if you're putting a post on Facebook or a tweet, or you're putting up a YouTube video, more than likely you're not hyper targeting people who are going to be buyers. So, or, opting in or wanting what you offer. So that's just something to keep in mind about email marketing. Okay. So besides the fact that I obviously have a tough time making an hour right now, we've had bad air quality for the last several days. So Joanne, what questions do you have? Since I can't believe you're still the only one on. It's insane. I wonder where everybody is this week. Running from a hurricane, I guess. Yeah, running. So again, I wanted to talk about email marketing before we talked about content marketing and blogging basics, because what's going to happen is that our content marketing and our blogging basics are now going to be helping us drive traffic back into our pages, to our opt-ins, etc. So email marketing, and especially when we're talking about providing content for an email, is part of content marketing. But I wanted to separate it out and say, hey, let's get this set up. So your goals should be to set something up, but it's going to be up to you because, again, we've tested our group and every single person has a different opinion on what they want to do for their platform. So I will do some supplemental videos hopefully soon. And then, sorry, I'm like dying. And I have nobody to supplement, nobody to say, oh, let me talk about this. I know Chrissy was really interested in email marketing because she's an interesting marketer, because she has traditionally done hope marketing, and which is not true because she calls it hope marketing, but really she just got really good at Etsy, right? She got really good at Etsy. And so she was able to build up a really good customer base from that. And because of that, her strength on Etsy, she hasn't needed to do anything else to grow. She just, kept putting out more products and everything else. But now that Etsy's making some major changes and threatening to basically take away all of her sales by saying, hey, if you don't offer free shipping, we're not going to show you, then she now has to think about different ways to reach out to her customers and find ways to make sure her sales don't drop. Now, I don't think they have so far. But with the closer it gets to Christmas, the more we're going to see Etsy focus on that free shipping. And so it'll be interesting to see. But I know she was like, well, let's see how we could do email marketing. Yeah, Joanne, Etsy it's weird because it's like they follow Amazon on some stuff, but then they do stupid stuff on their own. Like, oh, hey, let's change all of our stars to black because we're going to cater to people who can't see. Well, so the problem with that, Joanne, is that she can't really up her price, because if she does, like, so she has to ship out, let's say she ships out one item, it could cost her like $6 and some odd cents. But to send out 2 items might only cost her $7. So it's like, it's really difficult. The way Etsy's set up, it's really difficult to have that. So you know, it's just the way, if you do it free, you can't add on. I don't think you can. I don't think you can add on a cost then to add more on. So then you have to kind of guess up. You have to either increase the price for all of them. So then if instead of increasing it, you know, $6.50 for every single item, she'd have to increase it. It would just be really difficult to do. And that's just the way her business model is. It's really difficult to do. So she separates that out to keep the cost lower for people. But yeah, for me, I've always offered free shipping, because for me, if I send out 1 ornament or 4 ornaments, it still costs me $3. Well, $3.50 with the box. So do like the big businesses do and make it smaller for the same price. I swear they think we're stupid. She says her cat food went from 17 pounds to 15 pounds to 13.5 over the last 3 years, and they charge the same. Yeah, I've seen that happening a lot. So it's funny because my brother, he lives in California, and he also sometimes shops at Costco. And so he'll come from California, right? And he'll come here and he'll look at the exact same item here, and it'll be like triple the size for like half the price. I'm like, well, 1, you live in California. And 2, I'm like, they can. That's the whole thing about it. So they can. So they charge the same exact price, but he gets like a fraction there. And so he's like, but then he goes, well, this is why everybody in Texas is fat. And I'm like, no, that's not why. It's because the food here is good. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. And we don't believe in portion control. Sorry. It's just not a Texas thing. I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure there are plenty of people in Texas who believe in portion control. I just don't know any of them at all. Nor do I ever go to a restaurant that believes in that. Even when I was a kid, I used to come here and go, wow, there's so much food you get for, X amount. In fact, there's a Campo Verde, which is not too far from us. And it's like, you get this huge, huge nacho thing. And it is like cheap. It's like $10 for the whole thing. And it is massively huge. Like literally we could have like 6 people eat from it. So I guess it's just Texas likes food. We like food here. I'm not from Texas, so I can't do anything. I can't do any y'alls or I don't know, whatever other words they use. Well, Joanne, I think since it's just you, if you don't have any other questions, I'm not going to make any up. People can just message me. Yes. Thanks for coming, Joanne. I'm glad somebody was on. I hope everybody else who's on the replay, they stayed safe during the hurricane. And yeah. All right, maybe I'll listen in, Joanne, since I'm sure it's in my emails. But again, I get a gajillion, so I'll check it. But yeah. Thanks for coming. Let me know if you do have any questions. If anybody has questions, feel free to drop it into the Facebook group or message me directly through the contact on the lead generation source page. And I will see everybody next week for e-commerce. And okay, cool. Good. And my daughter's here, so I got to go. I will see everybody next time. And Joanne, take care. And thanks again.
Bye.
You're silly.
Oh, I want to do some jokes.
No, there's nobody here except for Joanne. She's got to go. Bye-bye. Sorry, I'm trying to find the end session. Got it. Fine. Okay, bye.
Bye.